Those that I've seen survive well remember their babies. They honor their babies. They find a way to incorporate their baby's memory into their lives. They don't move on. They move with the grief. They learn how to carry the love. Our TFMR stories: pregnancy loss support in the heartbreak of terminating a wanted pregnancy. How do I survive this? You're asking yourself, how do I survive this? How do I survive this? People ask me this when we have a decision support call, when they're grappling with what direction to take their decision in. And I think it's a question that you'll wrestle with, whether you choose to continue your pregnancy, whether you terminate your pregnancy. How do you survive this? How do you survive getting a devastating pregnancy diagnosis? How do you survive your baby being so sick or yourself being so sick? And how do you survive the best, in quotation marks, outcome being, a peaceful passing through TFMR, through inducing the pregnancy, through having a procedure? How do you survive that? First off, I would say you are allowed to throw out that moving on stuff, that moving on bullshit out the window. You don't have to move on from your baby. And those that I've seen survive well remember their babies. They honor their babies. They find a way to incorporate their baby's memory into their lives. They don't move on. They move with the grief. They learn how to carry the love that was supposed to go towards this child, and it still is. It's still going towards this child's memory, this child's spirit, and it still goes there. And it helps us go. It helps us continue to go on, to continue on. Because other types of baby loss may get sympathy meals, messages. Sometimes people, find themselves in a very caring family unit, or their community or their culture or their religion does understand, and they still get the sympathy and the grief support. But oftentimes TFMR gets silence and judgment. And you may be worrying about that. How will I get through it? How will I survive it, knowing that I can't share with my neighbor? I can't share even with my best friend. I can't share with my mother-in-law because they'll judge us. They may even disown us, and you need that support now more than ever. So if you need to say it was a pregnancy loss or the baby died and no more, and then say, I don't want to share more details, it's too hard, that's okay. That is not dishonoring your baby. That is deeply honoring yourself as their mother, as their parent. You're doing that for your baby's parent. You're doing that for them too, because you need to survive this. You're trying to figure out how to survive this. Something that I've seen that people do to survive this, they get seen. They find ways to be seen in their grief. And I've even turned this into like a little acronym if you'd like to use this yourself. So the S stands for story. I also feel like it stands for sharing, story sharing. You're going to find a way to share your whole sacred story in a place that it can be seen. For some people, this looks like just a trusted grief counselor. For some, it looks like having me as their grief doula. For some, this looks like sharing their story here anonymously on the podcast. For some, this looks like even keeping it even more sacred and more close, more secure. And maybe they just write their story, or they remember their story. They work with remembering their reason why, with knowing, it was for the baby's suffering. It was for my own suffering. It was what we had to do to survive. They get seen in that part of their grief. Before we continue, I want to take a moment to share something with you. TFMR is the heartbreak that feels like no one gets, the guilt and sacrifice and love and horror rolled into one. The what the hell just happened? Yes, that. I know that place intimately. I've walked through this fire too, with my second, very wanted, very loved baby that was sick in pregnancy. Having to make this choice, I'm holding up big quotations here, broke something in me, and I found a way to knit those pieces back together and walk and love in the world again, bringing my baby spirit with me, not as an aside, a front and center, because this is statistically the worst thing you've ever been through in your life, and that deserves so much care. The loss of a baby, a child, dreams, hopes, and you have your hand in it. And what does that even mean? Here we answer those questions that no one else will touch. Here we give you the tools and next steps to get the care and holding you deserve as mother, as father, as parent. This is happening in the TFMR Support Sanctuary, our monthly support groups and community. Join us for $55 a month with live circles, healing audio and video transmissions specifically for this type of baby loss. You can find us at the tfmrdoula.com/join. Link will be in the show notes. The next letter, E, stands for education. So we have S.E.E.N, we have story sharing, and then E is education. The best book that I recommend, just so that you understand the sensations and the bodily process of grief, because that can be very surprising. It was so surprising to me that it's okay, body even aches and so exhausted and my mind's not working right. I read the book, It's Okay That You're Not Okay by Megan Devine, and that book helped so much. There have even been other grief books that have come out recently. So just learning about what grief is and what it does to the body, to the mind, to the spirit, that can help a lot, because it can help just to not feel so scary. And when it's a little less scary, you're able to move a little closer to it and you're able to survive it a little bit better. So we have our story, we have education. The next E is expression. And this is very individual, similar to what I was talking about at the beginning. You may express yourself through lighting a candle in your baby's memory, through writing, through talking about it in the right safe places, through gardening, having a memorial tree for your baby, through even organizing a little shelf, a little space for your baby, or even a memory box. We're also getting into the N of getting seen in grief. So we have our story, we have education, we have expression, and then N is nurture. And nurture is for yourself, nurturing your own self-care, the things that you need to survive this, which could look like things like trauma therapy, could look like needing a lot of rest, could look like figuring out financially with you and your partner how you can take some more time off of work, or maybe go from full-time to part-time, or maybe your mind needs the distraction and you want to go back to work and you want to have this space where, you can help others. You can even nurture others with this N, joining a community, being with other TFMR parents. The N for nurture for me is also nurturing the relationship with your baby. That I think has been the biggest survival skill that I have developed through having a TFMR. And we talk about this a lot in the grief circles. I work with this a ton with my one-on-one clients. How are you nurturing your baby's memory, their place in your family? What does that look like? Do you have a special candle? Is there a special color that you see that reminds you of your baby? Is there an animal or a number association? And when you see that, you send a little bit of love to your baby and thank you for sending me a sign, or whatever that looks like for you. The N, the nurture, is very comprehensive and being seen in your grief, because we're being seen by others. We're also learning to be seen by ourselves, because how do you survive this? How do you survive this? You survive this through really feeling this love, through really taking care of yourself, through loving yourself through this, loving other people around you through this, loving your baby through loving your baby. Thank you so much, love, for listening, for being part of this community, for bravely taking this time for you. If you've been craving the kind of holding we've been talking about here, I would love to have a conversation with you. Schedule your Connect chat at the tfmrdoula.com/schedule-call. And that link will be in the show notes as well. Come find me. I'm here. I'm here for you.